a couple of weeks since I last did one of these movie wrap-up episodes. I do apologise, but to be honest with you, I'm going to be honest, there was literally one movie that I watched last week and didn't really watch many other films, so that's why I've only decided to come back and do another episode of my movie wrap-up, because this week that's just gone, I have managed to get in a couple more movies. So, yeah, without further ado, it's time for the movie wrap-up. You're watching Steve's Movie Wrap-Up, episode 18 on SteveOfficial. The first movie we'll be reviewing in this episode is the movie Imaginary. Starting with Imaginary, which I gave 1.5 stars over on Letterboxd. Now, with Imaginary is actually the first horror movie I've seen in the cinema in 2024, and it's the second horror movie that I have seen in 2024. So, what did I think of it? Well, the movie is actually rather boring and forgetful. As I'm kind of talking about this review, which I literally did, I'm literally talking about right now, as soon as I left the cinema. It's safe to say that I can't remember how the movie began, and I had my full, attention to the big screen the entire time that the movie was on the big screen. Now, before you say something like, you're probably going to say that you made this movie up, that you imagined, you went to the cinema to see this movie. No, this movie does suck. Really, it does suck. The actresses that play the lead roles in this are pretty good at their performances, and the only positive thing I can take out of this movie is the final act from this movie, which is pretty decent and is where you'll find the most horror. But other than that, though, the rest of this film just sucked so much. There was not much in the way of violence. There wasn't much in the way of blood or gore either. It just felt like I was watching Night Swim again, just with a different premise, really. And also, they had so much faith that this movie was going to be good that it even sets itself up for a potential sequel in the future. There was nothing in this movie that I can really take away and go, yeah, I'm going to remember that scene for a long time. Because, as I said at the start of this review, this movie is rather forgettable. Damsel. Damsel is next, and this is over on Netflix. I gave this 2.5 stars over on Letterboxd. I heard a lot of things about the movie Damsel on Netflix, so I decided to check this one out for myself. And did I enjoy this? Well, partly so. First things first, I must say that the movie had performances from the likes of Stranger Things and Enola Holmes, star Millie Bobby Brown, Angela Bassett, and Ray Winstone. So far, this movie does look promising with the casting, right? Secondly, what I really enjoyed about this movie is the fact that from the opening scene of the movie to the final shot of the movie, it does feature some stunning visuals and stunning scenery. Something that you could have even appreciated had you have been able to watch this movie in a movie theatre or cinema. Thirdly, what I really enjoyed about this film is the design of the dragon. I think the dragon in this looked pretty awesome, to be honest, and I know that there is currently a live action version of DreamWorks' How to Train Your Dragon, and I hope to God they use the same sort of design dragon, or that kind of level design for the dragon as we see in this movie, because if they do, then I'll be seated when that movie comes out in theatres. And I must say my hat goes off to the people who did the costumes in this movie, because the costumes that each character wore were pretty good and very well detailed as well. Now, for the negative parts that I had for this movie, and although I said that I like the design of the dragon, because the dragon did look awesome. I just didn't like the fact that the dragon could talk. I don't know, it just didn't sit right with me. There was some parts of CGI used in this which also felt a little off in places. Not all the time. In some scenes it did work, in others, especially in the payoff. In the payoff at the end, it just didn't work. I am also going to say that I kind of felt a little confused as to whether this is whether this movie is a family-friendly movie that families would enjoy or not, because while it does seem at the beginning it's a movie made for a family to enjoy, you then get midway through and you're thinking, well, that was dark. I will also say that this movie does have a Game of Thrones / Downton Abbey kind of feel to it, especially with the costumes that the characters are wearing and the fact they are riding around on horses as well. It just gave me Game of Thrones or Downton Abbey vibes. Would I happily go back and rewatch this again? Well, yes, because for me, I did find it a fun to watch movie, and even though it does have its flaws, I still enjoyed watching this one, especially with Millie Bobby Brown's performance as well. So I would definitely watch this one again. It does have that dark fantasy vibe to it as well, which I did enjoy as well. So Damsel is now available to stream globally over on the streaming service that is Netflix.
Spaceman.
Another movie that recently came out on Netflix, Spaceman, which I gave 2 stars over on Letterboxd. So I was going to say that this movie is boring and isn't really worth your time watching, and I was actually going to end up giving this either a 0.5 star rating or a 1 star rating on Letterboxd, but Spaceman on streaming service Netflix is actually somewhat decent. The movie does star Adam Sandler, and I know that as soon as I mention that name, people will turn around and say, yeah, I'm not watching, I'm not watching this now. Now that you've mentioned that that actor's name. But after sitting through the 1 hour and 50 minutes movie, it's safe to say that this is actually his best performance I have seen in any Adam Sandler movie I have seen before. And trust me, I have seen a few of his films. I will say though that the fact we have this spaceman travelling through space, all he wants to do is get back home. He does seem rather depressed all throughout this the movie, but that's likely to be because he's all on his own in space. But while he's in this spaceship all on his own, he ends up seeking some form of therapy by this ginormous space spider who appears to talk. And I'm not gonna lie, while a lot of people probably don't like spiders, and seeing the spider will probably freak some viewers out, but I can't help but adore the look and design of the spider. I just want to go up to that spider and just give him a big cuddle and maybe seek some therapy from it myself. All throughout this movie, we see the spaceman seek solace and therapy in this spider about some of the things that have happened to him in his past, including about what happened to his father, and basically why he was being such a vile person to his pregnant wife as well. So in that sense, for me, it was an interesting watch and definitely worth the time as well. There are also some moments in this movie where we do see some stunning scenery from outside the spaceship as well, which I did enjoy watching. I think the only reason as to why I gave this movie a 2-star rating is because it's very dialogue driven. So therefore, if you're looking for something with action in it, then this one won't be for you, sadly. The movie Spaceman is now available to stream globally over on Netflix.
Ricky Stanicky.
Ricky Stenicki, which I gave 1.5 stars over on Letterboxd. John Cena stars in this movie titled Ricky Stenicki, a character that 3 young boys made up in their childhood every time they got into trouble, only for them to continue this trend as they grow up into their adulthood. Anyways, now there is that obvious joke in here that John Cena is playing a character that isn't actually there, because after all, as John Cena said during his days in the boxing ring, his infamous catchphrase is "You can't see me." So I see what they were doing here when they hired him to cast as the character of Ricky Stenicki. But Zac Efron also stars in this movie as well, and I'm not gonna lie, Zac Efron and John Cena are the standouts in this movie, but there are a lot of sexual references and a lot of sexual jokes in here, which just felt rather forced, to be honest, and was just unfunny. There was a couple of moments where I did laugh, but aside from that, though, I didn't enjoy the movie as much as I was intending to enjoy it. For the first half an hour, it had me intrigued to continue watching, but then after that, the movie just fell flat for me, I'm afraid. But if you want to check it out yourselves, then Ricky Stenicki is available to stream on the streaming service Amazon Prime Video globally. The Beekeeper. The Beekeeper, I gave 3.5 stars over on Letterboxd. I really enjoyed this movie a lot. Unfortunately, I didn't get the opportunity to watch this one when it came out in cinemas back in January 2024. So here we are now, 3 months later, and I've managed to watch it on UK streaming service Now TV. As the movie is a Sky original. You have director David Ayer directing The Beekeeper, while Jason Statham stars in the movie. This time around, though, he's not fighting megalodons. He's instead fighting bad guys to protect the hive. I absolutely enjoyed this movie a lot. This actually reminded me of something similar to the John Wick movies. There were some great action sequences in this, and I loved the way how the action was choreographed. I can't get that word out, but you know what I mean. In this movie as well, there was some tense moments in here, and there was some parts of the movie which had some great lighting in some scenes as well. I will also say that there are some moments where we see buildings explode or gas stations explode. And I thought the effects in those scenes were also pretty awesome. The Beekeeper is available to watch on UK streaming service Now TV. For those who, like me, haven't had the opportunity to watch this one, I would definitely say give this one a go, particularly if you are into action movies. Taylor Swift, The Eras Tour, Taylor's version. And the final movie that I have watched this week is Taylor Swift, The Eras Tour, which I gave 5 stars over on Letterboxd. Of course I would. Of course I would. Now, this one is actually a rewatch because I did see this one in the cinemas back in October 2023. But, however, here's the twist though, because Taylor Swift The Eras Tour is actually a Disney Plus release. It came out recently on Disney Plus, and this one is Taylor's version. So after seeing this in cinemas back in October 2023, I had the pleasure of sitting down from the comfort of my own home and watched Taylor Swift The Eras Tour on a 50-inch TV screen while munching on a load of popcorn from my Taylor Swift popcorn tin bucket that I got when I went to watch the movie in theatres last October. And of course, I had plenty of beverages with me to keep me going throughout the movie. I still enjoyed watching this the second time around, just like I did when I first watched it in the cinema the first time around. And funnily enough, yes, I did even join in with some of the songs as well, just like I did when I watched it in cinema. However, though, the only thing that was a little different about this movie was the fact that we got even more bonus content that we never got to see in cinema, that was released exclusively for Disney Plus subscribers. The exclusive content that we got to see was 4 acoustic songs, which included Maroon and I Can See You. Which, can I say that both acoustic versions of those songs were so brilliantly performed on stage. I thought when I saw that. I do have a feeling though that some of the performances in the actual movie were extended as well compared to when I saw the concert movie in cinemas back in October last year. But I am not too sure whether that's true or not. The only reason why I say this is because when I saw this in cinemas, the running time was 2 hours and 45 minutes. Whereas on Disney Plus, the running time for the movie is 3 hours and 30 minutes. And the 4 additional acoustic songs doesn't kick in until the end of the movie at around 26 minutes before the movie ends. So my thoughts is that there is definitely some songs within the concert itself that may have been extended a little, but again, as to what songs got extended, I have no idea. Anyways, this was still a decent concert movie, and as I will say that Taylor Swift is one of those artists that I would love to go and watch on tour, because some artists, they don't keep up with the pace of their own songs sometimes, and they have to rush through the lyrics to get back on track with the song. Whereas with Taylor though, she's so natural and she always keeps up with each song that she sings on stage as well. I definitely love this movie a lot, and I wouldn't at all be surprised if I end up watching and reviewing this one again for Letterboxd in the future. So again, just want to quickly remind you guys that Taylor Swift The Eras Tour Taylor's version is now available to stream worldwide exclusively on Disney Plus. And that is all for today's movie wrap-up episode. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a like. Feel free to leave a comment in the comment section down below and let me know your thoughts as to what movies you've been watching this past week or past couple of weeks, whether it's been on streaming or in the cinema. Feel free to let me know the movies you've been watching in the comment section down below. And if you are new around here, you like what you see, feel free to hit that subscribe button to become a Stevo. Your next YouTube video will be out on Monday the 18th of March 2024 at 4 PM UK time. It is another episode of Steve's weekly vlog, so feel free to check that out then. But from me here though, it's goodbye. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys again in my next YouTube video.